Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Marion. In this tutorial, I show you how to crochet this amazing cover up. It is sexy and really beautiful. I promise it's very easy to make. If you're new here, please consider to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and comment down below and let me know how you're finding this cover up so far. So without wasting so much time, let's just dive into the video. Now this is one of the dresses that I've already constructed, and we are going to use this dress. I'm going to use this dress to illustrate how we are getting our measurements. So as you can see, this bust area, this is the bust area, yeah? As you can see, it's divided into four. There's this part, there's this part, this one and this one. So these four parts, they add up the bust measurement. So for example, my bust measurement is 34. If I measure this and give it a light stretch, it goes up to 17. So my bust measurement is 34 inches. And now if I divide 34 by 4, because these are 4 triangles that we should begin with, it's giving me 8.5 inches. So we are going to work this area starting from here at the tip of this triangle downwards until now you stop at your bust measurement divided by 4. So right here, this part where I have stopped, it's 8.5 inches, and I will measure for you. As you can see, it's just about 8.5 inches, even without giving it a large stretch. So you need 4 of this, and I've already constructed 3 off camera, and I am going to make one more, my 4th one, with you so that you can know how to begin your project. So get your yarn. As you can see, I'm doubling my strands because I want to achieve medium weight. But if you have medium weight, you can use that, and I'm using a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. So once you do that, now you can make a slip knot. Make a slip knot and chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Once you have your chain, now you're gonna make a double crochet in the very first chain that you just constructed. The reason we've chained 7 is because our chains are going to be 5, and then the first two chains are acting as our first double crochet. So now you are gonna go into the very first chain and make a double crochet, just 1. So make a double crochet right here, and then once you do that, you're going to chain another 7. 1, we've already made this first loop, yeah, so we're going to chain another 7. We're going to the next row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So once we do that, we will turn our work, and now you're going to go into the loop that you just created and do 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. And then now you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go into the second chain right here, and make a double crochet. So this is what we have so far. I'm going to do another row. So the first chain, we always chain the first time we always chain 7, 1, 2. So these two are a representation of our first double crochet, and then definitely we've been chaining 5. We add another 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to make 7 chains, and then you turn your work. And now you're going to do 2 double crochets inside the loop that you just created right here. 1, 2 double crochets, and then next we are going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you go into the next loop and make 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. And once you make those 2 double crochets, you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then into the second chain right here, that is where you're going to create your double crochet, and you're done with that row. You see how we are increasing? We had 1 and now we have 2, and on this very one we have 1, 2, 3, and now the next one is going to have 4. So as we said, our first chain is usually 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then turn your work and go into the very first loop and make 2 double crochets. 1, 2, and then chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then make your 2 double crochets in that very loop. Chain another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go into the next loop and make 2 double crochets. Chain another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go into the second chain and make a double crochet to close that row. Now we have our 1, 2, 3, 4 loops, and now the next one is definitely going to have 5 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turn your work, and then now you can yarn over and make your 2 double crochets in that very loop. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and make your double crochets, 2 of them inside that second loop. You're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go into the next loop and make 2 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go into the next loop and make your 2 double crochets. And then to complete the row, we are going to do 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then now on top of that, inside of that chain 2, make a double crochet. We are on row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am going to make 7 rows. So that is where I'm going to end this part, because this is giving me 8.5 inches. But if your bust measurement is less than 8.5 inches, you can definitely do less rows. And if it's more than 8.5 inches, you will definitely do more rows. So keep working this part, and then once you have your 4, because I already have 4, you will come back, and then now we'll see how we are going to join this part. All right, at this point you have all your triangles, and now you will just insert your hook in this loop from this other triangle that doesn't have yarn attached to it, and then pull this loop towards you, and then now we're going to make a chain 1 like that. So these 2 are joined. Now we will leave our yarn right there, because that is where we'll begin our rows from. And then now I want to join the rest of the triangles together, definitely. So now you will do the same. Just get your triangle and then pull the loop towards this side, right? Just insert your hook as I'm doing right now and pull it to make a single a chain like that, and then you can just pull it and tighten it. Those are already joined. And then the very last one, we do the same thing. We're going to take this part and just pull the loop towards this loop, pull this one, and then make chain one and pull your yarn, and those are joined. And then definitely we need to join all of them together. Just make sure everything is aligned before joining the last one. So take this loop, insert your hook right here, and then now you can get this loop through it and make chain one and pull your yarn, and everything is joined. As you can see, our straps will be here. This will be the area where we are placing our straps. The V, this will be the V. This right here will be the V. Also, the V will be right here. This will be the arm. The armpit will be here, and the other armpits will be here. So yeah, there you have it. I know right now it doesn't make sense at all, but trust me guys, it's going to take shape. So just get to where you are starting your rows. So we're going to start our work from here, because this is where our yarn is still attached, like that. So I have decided to put some pretend straps on my work so that I can actually just structure it and know where I'm going. So if I do like this, I assume that I have a whole dress. So these are my straps. I just attached contrasting yarn, as you can see. So these are my imaginary straps. Pretend straps. Now this is where we are at the moment. We're going to insert our hook right here, and we will make 2 slip stitches to get to the center of this loop. Yeah, just make 2 slip stitches, 1 2, make 2 slip stitches, and then now you can chain 2. That is like our first double crochet, and make another double crochet right there. And then we're going to do, now we have started working on the body of this amazing dress. So after you do that, we're going to do 5 chains, 1 2 3 4 5, and go into the following loop and make 2 double crochets. And I will advise you to put a stitch marker right here so that you don't forget where your work begins. So put a stitch marker right there to mark the beginning of our row. And then we're going to create another 5 chains and then do 2 double crochets inside of that loop. Make 5 chains, 1 2 3 4 5, and then create 2 double crochets in the loop. Make 1 2 3 4 5 chains, make 2 double crochets in the next loop. Make 1 2 3 4 5 and 2 double crochets. So we're going to do the same thing even when we get to this part. 1 2 3 4 5, and then make a double crochet in here, 2 of them, sorry, and then make, we're now crossing over to the next triangle. As you remember, this is where we joined them. So make how many? 1 2 3 4 5 chains, and then just cross over to this loop, sorry, cross over to this loop and make 2 double crochets right here. You see that, guys? Like that. And then now you can make 5 chains, 1 2 3 4 5, and then continue making your loops. So we are placing 2 double crochets, 1 2 3 4 5, 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 cross over to the next triangle and place 2 double crochets right here. 1 2 3 4 5, so we have come to where we began, And now we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and slip stitch on top of the chain 2, right where we have a stitch marker. We're going to slip stitch to close. We are done with that row. This is what you should be having at this point. Now let's go back to work. Now chain 1 and turn your work. Don't forget to turn, yeah? After you turn, you're going to slip stitch inside of this loop twice, just to take you to the center of this loop, yeah? And then now you can chain 2. That's like our first double crochet, and then work another double crochet, because each and every loop is getting 2 double crochets. And now once you've done that, you can continue working your 5 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go into the next loop and make 2 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go into the next and make 2 double crochets. So continue working your double crochets all around until you get to this part. So just chain 5 double crochets, 2 double crochets in the next loop, chain 5, 2 double crochets in the next loop until you get to this part. Don't forget to put your stitch marker so that you don't miss that part. So when you get to this mid part here, you will just insert your 2 double crochets inside of this loop, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put the 2 double crochets in there, and then you can continue. Like that. So this is where we are. We have made our neck area. This is where the arms will be, the arms, the neck area, and now we are working down towards the waist, right? So at this point, I have worked the second. This was the first, and this is now the second row since we joined the 4 parts. And now I am going to work the very last loop right here to join this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then insert your hook in on top of that chain 2. Remove your stitch marker definitely, and then now you can slip stitch to join like that. Now chain 1 and turn your work. Once you do that, now you can slip stitch inside this loop twice just to get to the center, and then now chain 2 for that our first double crochet, and then now you can make another double crochet inside of that loop like that. So we have started our row. Don't forget to insert your stitch marker so that we can know where you're stopping. Yes, and then you can continue, just work your 5 chains and then do those 2 double crochets in the next loop, work your next 5 chains and then do those 2 double crochets. So this is the pattern. We are chaining 5 and doing 2 double crochets in the next loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So continue doing this for a number of rows. If you're doing a medium, you will do, this is where we started from. This was the first, this is the second. We're going to do 4 rows if you're doing a medium, and then we start now narrowing it down, or rather reducing, because we want a snatched waist, right? So we'll start reducing. I'll show you how to reduce. And if you're doing a large or an extra large, you will do an extra 2 rows. So you will do 7 or 8 rows, and then now you will start now reducing at that area. So continue working until you have your 5 rows. 1, 2, I'm doing the third, and then I'll add more. So this is our dress. I know it doesn't look like it, but it will take shape as we go. Now at this point, this is your bust measurement, but we need to reduce it to get to our waist measurement. My waist measurement is 28. So when you get to this part, let me show you how we are going to reduce. When you get to this part where we are joining, we are starting the rows officially, where the stitch marker is, you're going to slip stitch as always, and then chain 1, turn your work. Now you will also just do your slip stitch inside this, and then chain 2 as always, yes. And then instead of doing your first double crochet in here like always like this, we are not going to do that double crochet in there. We will skip the double crochet and place it inside this space like that. So this means that we have done the 2 double crochets in separate spaces, making it like 1, and then we chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go directly into the next space and do our 2 double crochets. But still, before we continue, let us map the other side where the next reduction will be, because we are reducing on both sides. Because for this, if this is this part, the other we will reduce on this other side. Let me get my stitch marker and mark it right here. So I've marked the opposite side so that I can know when I get here, this is the next part that we are reducing. So let me continue. We are doing just as we've been, chaining 5, 3, 4, 5, and placing 2 double crochets in each and every space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 double crochets. And now I will continue doing this until I get here, and then I will meet you and show you how we are reducing. Okay, so I've gotten to this part, and now I want to do my first double crochet and then go right into the next. You see how I'm going to, I've done 1 double crochet here, and I'm going to skip to the next space and do another double crochet in there. So we are combining these two spaces into one by doing 1 double crochet here and another double crochet in the next, and then we'll just continue working as normal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go into the next and do 2 double crochet like that. So your work should be looking like this, so that when we are working next time, we will put our 2 double crochets here, chain 5, 2 double crochets here, chain 5, and 2 double crochets here, chain 5. You see how we have reduced this part. So that is what we are doing. So now we are going to continue making the chains and the 2 double crochets until we get to this part where we started from. Okay, so I am coming towards the end of that row. Now you will do your 2 double crochets in here, and then chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and remember the chain 2, that is where we are going to complete our row with a slip stitch. Now you see we reduced to this part, so don't get confused. You will chain 1, turn your work, and then do the slip stitches, right? And now do your chain 2 and do your first double crochet in there. Transfer this stitch marker to this part so that you don't forget where you're starting your rows from. On this row we are not going to reduce, we will reduce on the next row. So continue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go into the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go into the next with 2 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go into the next with 2 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me continue until we get to this part, this opposite part, and then I'll show you how we are we're actually doing this part. So I'm at the opposite side. We are going to place our 2 double crochets in this space, and then we're going to do our chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and get into the next space. You see how I've done there? We assume that these are 2 double crochets, so we skip on it just as we've been skipping on the 2 double crochets. So we're going to keep on these ones and go into the next space with 2 double crochets. This is where we reduced, and we are also going to reduce right here. You see? Now let me continue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We shall reduce on the next row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So continue until you get to the end of the row. I'm coming towards the end of the row. 3, 4, 5, and then now I will slip stitch on top of that, chain 2, like that. Remove the stitch marker and place it on top of the next chain 2. So chain 1, turn, slip stitch to get to the middle, and then now we are going to remember the previous reduction we started with. We reduced on this side. It's right here actually. So this time round, when we are reducing, we will reduce on this side. Remember, this is where our seam is. I want us to reduce on this side, and to do so we will reduce as we complete the row. So at this moment we are just going to start to begin the row as we have begun all those others, with our 2 double crochets here, the chain 2 and the first double crochet, and then chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But on the opposite side we will just reduce where the stitch marker is. So let's walk together, and then by the time we get here we will leave these 2 spaces open so that we reduce in here. So make sure to do those 2 double crochets, chain 5, go into the next with those 2 double crochets, chain 5, go into the next with 2 double crochets. Now I'm at the side where we need to reduce. As we had said, we are going in with 1 double crochet, and instead of putting the next double crochet in the same space, we will do the double crochet in the next space to reduce the 2 into 1, and then we continue working our 5 chains and go into the next with 2 double crochets like that. So we reduced here at first, and now we have reduced on this at this point. So the next time when we are doing our double crochets, we will do the 2 double crochets here, chain 5, and do the next 2 double crochets here. So that shows this part has been reduced into 1. So let's continue working until we get to the end, leaving 2. That is where we are going to do our reduction here. I'm at the end, and as you can see, I have left these 2 spaces, and now to reduce in them, we are going to do our 1 double crochet in this space and do the next double crochet in the next space like that, and then we will chain 5 and complete the row. 4, 5, and then slip stitch on top of this, chain 2. So that is how you reduce. You will take your tape measure at this point and see where you are. As you can see, mine is still at 15, and I need it to go to up to 14. So I will reduce on 1 more row, and then actually the next row is going to be a non-decrease row, and then I will reduce on the next. And let me catch you once I'm done with reducing. So my next row is a reduction row. Since I had reduced here, I am going to make sure that I reduce in the first 2 spaces. The last time we reduced in the last 2, and now we're going to reduce in the first 2. So chain 1, turn your work, and then get to the center with those slip stitches, and then now you can make your first double crochet in form of these two chains, and then go directly into the next and do your double crochet. So we have reduced these 2 into 1. Now let's continue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and continue. So we have reduced here, and then the next time we're reducing on the opposite side. So I will do that off camera because we had already done a similar row, and then we'll continue with our dress. So this is where I am. As you can see, it's at 14 inches. I will advise you, since this dress will be pulled down by the weight of it, this is how it's going to stand, like this. Yes, when you're measuring, don't stretch it this way, just let it be in its element, and then now you can place your tape measure on top of it and measure. Now you can reduce as many times as you want, but remember this part also has to pass through your shoulders, so it will stretch a bit and pass through your shoulders. So don't reduce so much, just consider like it has to sit on your waist without leaving so much of the material out. It just has to be perfectly fitting. So don't stretch it, and don't over reduce. That's why I've only reduced 3 times. You can reduce as many as you want. Always put it on. That's why we have these pretend straps. Put it on as you go. And yeah, now let's continue working a few rows before we now start increasing to meet our hip measurements. So I'm going to do a total of 4 rows here. I'm going to do 4 rows without reducing, without increasing, just the way the size that I've hit, this 14 inches. And then now I will come back and show you how you need to increase it. We are moving swiftly. So at this point, if you're making a small or a medium, at this point you should be having like 12 inches of work. If you're working with a large or extra large, I want you to add a few rows. Once you hit your hip waist measurement, please add a few rows, like you can get up to 15 inches. Now since like we have our waist measurements and we want to get to hip, we definitely need to increase. We need to start increasing, and this is how we do it. So as we have always done, chain 1, turn your work, and then definitely do those 2 slip stitches. And now we are going to do 2 yes, we're going to do 2. So we will chain 2 as always, and then do your first double crochet in that space. And then now you will chain 5, 1 2 3 4 5, and in the same space, since we are increasing, in the same space, that is where you're going to place your next 2 double crochet, like that. So in total you have like 4 double crochets in that very first that very first space. Now as always, you will mark this other side where you need to do your other increase. So our next increase will be right here. First increase here, next increase here. Now let me continue making just as we've always done, our chain 5 and 2 double crochets in each and every space. 1 2 3 4 5 in the next space. 1 2. Right, so we have introduced another space here, and we will also introduce another space on this other side. Don't even be afraid, and unapologetically do those single crochets, I mean those chains and those double crochets until you get to this part where we are going to introduce another increase. Now I have gotten to that point where I marked, and at this point we're going to do our first 2 and then chain 5, and in the same space we're going to do another pair of double crochets, like that. So in the same space we have to introduce another space. Now we're going to continue making our rows just as we have always done. Yes, chain 5, do your 2 double crochets, chain 5, do your 2 double crochets in that, for 5, do your 2 double crochets, so I'm coming towards the end of the row. This is the very last space, so we do those 2 double crochets in there and then chain 3, 4, 5 and slip stitch on top of that, chain 2, like that, chain 1. As it has been our norm, we are not going to increase on this next row, but we will increase on the 3rd one. So I'm going to make just a row without increasing. See you when we increase in the next. So I have completed the non-increasing row, and as you can see, we increased on right here on this row, on this side of the stitch marker. Now the next row that we're increasing, we have to put it on this side so that we can balance everything. Yes, so that calls for reducing at the end of the row. So we are going to start the row just as we normally would, with our slip stitches, chain 2 and our first double crochet, and then chain 5 and go into the next with your 2 double crochets, chain 5, go into the next with your 2 double crochets. We're going to do this until we get to the side where we are also increasing, but before we complete the row, we will leave this very last space. This is where we are going to increase also. So we increase where we are at our last part of the row and on the side of the row of the dress, I mean. So sorry, let me continue working until I get to the side. So I've gotten to the side where we are doing our next increase. So we're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, put your first 2 double crochets and then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put the next 2 double crochets in the same space. That means we are introducing another space for increase, and then continue working the row just as always, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until we get towards the end of it, and we will do our last increase. So here is our very last space, and we're going to work the increase in there. So 2 double crochets, chain 5, 2 double crochets in the very same space, okay, like that, and then now you can chain 5 and complete the row on top of this, chain 2 over here and then chain 1, and the row is done. So now I am going to do another one non-increasing row, and then now the next row will be our increasing row. But remember, you have to always measure, and don't really stretch your work. Mine is at 17 inches right now, but I want it, that is 34, but I want to get to 38 inches, 36 to 38 inches there. Now I will increase one more time, but not in the neck, in this very row that we're going to make, since we were just increasing. In the next row is supposed to be a non-increase, and then now in the next one we can now increase. So continue working on your cover up, and I will meet you. Of course, if you're doing a large or an extra large, you can always increase more points, or if you want your cover up to be loose, you can always increase a little bit more, maybe 4 or 5 rows of increasing. So always work with your measurements, and if you don't have a tape measure, you can always put your work on and continue working as you go along. So right now this is where we are, and this is giving us almost 19 inches, like that. And I'm not going to increase anymore. I will just work till I cover my butt area, that is my hip area. So if definitely you're using your measurements, so just increase until you reach your measurement size, your hip size, and now you can just start doing rows and rows of you know, no increase at all, right? So I'm going to continue building the length of the dress. So I've been building my rows, and since that part I have done 8 inches of no increase at all. And so as from this part I want to do a little bit of decrease. Of course at this point it's very optional. You can go on and just continue with your dress until you get to the hem, but I prefer it to be a little bit hugging and pencil like. So we are going to decrease, and how I would like to do it is I will only decrease on 2 rows, and these rows will not follow each other the way we've been doing. They will come, I will reduce on this very first row here, and then the next part where I'll reduce will be on row 6. So I want to reduce and then do 5 rows of no decrease, and then on row 6 that is when I will decrease. I just don't want the decreases to follow each other like that. But as I've said, this part is very optional. Now if you want to do more decreases you can do more, but if you want to do it the way I'm doing it, definitely you will just follow my pattern. So I want to continue working the dress off camera so that I don't have a lot of footage. Of course I had already shown you how to reduce. You will just use the same method, the same formula that we had used previously. So I'm going to do this dress off camera, and once I come back I'll have achieved all 40 inches of it, and then now we can do the sleeves, or rather the straps, together. So continue working on your dress, and I will see you in a minute, or rather in a few, sorry. So the next thing we are going to do is clean off this area and make the straps. And what we're going to start with is this corner right here. Just grab any corner of those and then insert your hook and grab your yarn. So make a slip knot, and let's insert our yarn right at this corner here. Make sure your work is on the right side. And now we're going to make chain 1 first, and then make 2 single crochets in that space. 1, 2. Continue making 2 single crochets in each and every space. 2, 1, 2. What we're doing is we're just giving this part a beautiful border. So we are placing 2 single crochets on in each and every space. 1, 2. Now once you get to this part, you're going to skip. Don't place anything in here and go directly to the other side. You know, we have been going down and then we get to the intersection. You skip this part and go to the next side. Just keep placing 2 single crochets in each. That will create the V on this part. One, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We are about to get to the tip, so we put 2 single crochets, add another one that will act as the middle part, and then we're going to carry this yarn along with us, and now put 2 more single crochets in that very same space. So in total we've placed 5 single crochets in this part, the tip, right? We can actually put a stitch marker right there to just show us that that is where our first strap will go. So we continue going downwards, 2 single crochets in each and every space. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Remember, when we get to the intersection, we jump right to the next side. So this is what we have so far. and we're going to go all around until we get to the part where we started from, right here. So you go downwards, upwards, downwards, upwards, and remember we are placing 5 in this one in the middle and 2 on both sides, right? I will meet you once I'm done with mine. So now the remaining part is just to slip stitch and chain 1, right? So we are done with cleaning off this part, the neck area, but now the remaining part is just to make the straps. But before you identify where you're going to do the straps, first get to see where your seam is. So the seam is supposed to be at the side of our dress. So let me get where mine is. So I found mine, it's on this side. If you did your stitch as well, you will notice that it's very hard to identify where this seam line is. Now, since we have that, we can even mark that with a stitch marker so that we don't forget next time. Now, I want to do a strap from here all the way to this other side, and then another one will come at this point all the way to this other side. So to do that, this is how we're going to work it. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, turn your work, and inside this stitch make a double crochet. I like my straps a little bit thick, and then chain 2, turn your work, and on top of the chain 2 on this side you will do a double crochet like that, chain 2, turn, and on top of the double crochet on this other side we are going to do a double crochet, chain 2, turn like that, chain 2, turn, do a double crochet, chain 2, turn, do a double crochet. So you're going to do this until you have 14 inches or a strap long enough to cover, you know, for your satisfaction. Mine is going to be 14 inches. So once you're done with your strap, I've made mine 30 rows just in case someone was counting, and then now you can just insert your this yarn needle, because that is what we're going to use to fasten it on the other side. Yeah, so just make sure that your strap is very straight, and then now you can just use the yarn needle to literally sew it on the other side. So we're just doing back and forth, back and forth. Like that. Make sure it's neat. A couple of times, not so many that it's bulky. Once it's on there, now you can just use the seam to fasten, or rather to weave in your end. Just a couple of times, and yeah, you have your strap. So do the same on the other side, and once you are done, then your dress will be complete. Now you can weave in the ends, and I want to put this on a mannequin just to show you how beautiful this design is and how lengthy it is. So in case you want to make just like mine is about 48 to 50 inches. So yes, you can make it as lengthy as you want, or you know, short or lengthy, you know, just how you want it. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do, and leave a comment in the comment section so that we can interact. Thank you so much for watching. I have enjoyed making this tutorial. I hope you do enjoy making your cover up, and if you do, please tag me on my socials as Marion Crochets. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.